this morning?
Very well, thank you. Good morning,
Very well,
everybody.
thank you. All right, so we're just going to jump straight into the session for today. Now, the keynote for today says ideas rule the world. And we're here because we are supposed to be thinkers, thinkers that actually execute, make, and then what we execute, we can scale. And you guys are professionals in your industry. So I'm going to start from Joseph Dawn. Let the Dawn start. So let's know you and let's get your take on the concept as regards to your industry. Ideas rule the world.
Good morning, everybody. Once
morning.
again, thank you for having me here. My name is Joseph Don. I run a company called Kaizen Digital Academy. What we basically do is we're an online education platform. Think of it like masterclass, but designed in such a way that Africans can understand everything we are doing. So it's an online education platform built for Africans by Africans. That is basically what I do. Thank you very much.
All right, so you just told us what you do. So ideas rule the world. For your industry, what's your take on it?
Of course, ideas rule the world, of course.
Yeah.
But people are very crazy about ideas. Oh, my idea this, my idea that,
Huh.
this happened. Well, in as much as ideas are very important, I believe ideas are very important. Ideas rule the world.
Yeah.
But ideas without execution and implementation,
Hmm.
zero, nothing.
Zero.
So you might have all the ideas in this. I've been having ideas since I was born. Have you ever had an idea before and then you go outside one day and you see that this thing I've been thinking person on down.
Yeah.
That's because on their own. Hi, I know my how you. That's because on their own ideas are just there. Okay, it is when you decide to put fuel in the car and drive. Is when you decide to pour fuel inside the fire. Is when you decide to implement, work on the idea that eventually becomes something to rule the world. So ideas on their own do not rule the world. Ideas implemented, executed, and acted upon, those are the ideas that rule the world. Thank you.
All right, so Joseph, you are into marketing and sales. Do you really think we have ideas in marketing and sales that we have not executed as Africans? As a consultant,
That's a tricky question. Do you have ideas in marketing and sales that
we have not
not
executed.
executed as Africans?
As
The thing
Africans.
is, this is a third world country, right? And
I'm not the only one who has said it today. So when they come,
and the level of market awareness, especially in this part of the world, is not the same as with first world countries.
okay,
We have certain limitations that they don't have. So, for example, when some people can have crazy ideas and say, I want to build a sales funnel, I want to put a tripwire, I want to do this and this and this, and I'm expecting that Nigerians are going to buy it. First of all, Nigerians are not used to. Maybe I want to buy something. I want to buy a course. Maybe you want to say, I want to start with because how these people do majorly is they start with a low ticket offer, a low end offer. So it might be like a $10 offer,
yeah,
and they're hoping that by the time you go through the sales funnel, at the end of the day, your average order value should have come up to like $100, $150, $1,000, depending on how many upsells and downsells they have.
yeah,
Right? But I want to buy something in Nigeria, and probably I see 5K, right? And I click on it, and I want to add to cart, and then I see another thing. Why is this guy trying to sell me something else? Now, why is the
yeah.
now so they carry scam people?
Okay.
So there are ideas, but you have to do what is workable part time, especially in this part of the world.
All right.
And stay with it. That's what it is, basically.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so I'll come to Triumphant himself. So, you, same thing. Ideas rule the world. In your industry, are we doing enough with the ideas that we have?
So yes and no. So the thing is, the thing with conversations about ideas are that no, it's working.
All right, let's go.
So the thing with conversations around ideas,
Yeah.
an idea generally is such a on its own, like you said. I mean, we can slice and dice, but an idea is not really an idea until it has implementable steps. All right, so
Okay.
you can have a thought, and that's the breakdown that I also want to like. I want to just submit this morning or afternoon. You can have a thought.
Yeah.
You can have, and a thought should govern a particular sphere of your heart or of your mind. A thought should govern a particular sphere of your conviction, how you look at life, your perspective, right? An idea has to be something. An idea is not a random idea. That's an idea.
It's not a random thought.
It's not a random thought. It's not
Okay.
it's not an haphazard, disjointed, unverified or unverifiable thought about either business or life. An idea that what you call is why it's called an ideology is that it's a system of thought that is organized and it is well researched, well organized, well developed in such a way that anybody who you are sharing it with can see that the work has been done on this particular system of thought in a way that we can see the value chain of what you are presenting. And because the confusion is that when we talk about ideas, people think that we are just asking you that whatever crosses your mind. Once something drops in your mind, I can use 100 naira to make 1 million. You think that well, let's just go and do it. No.
Yeah.
Have you researched it?
Yeah.
Have you looked through the system and the other corresponding thoughts that it relies upon to be valid?
Okay.
All right. I think this is the real work here, right? And without such systemic thinking through the thoughts that we have, we are unable to really act on any idea. And an idea is not an idea until there's clarity in it to see the action step that you can take. This is the journey to ruling the world an idea must take. Right? There must be that clarity. You must see the beginning of it. You must see the implementation of it. You must see the alternative route that you must take when you encounter difficulties. All of this must be captured into the quality of an idea before we can then trust that idea to rule. Nobody is giving any idea any free road.
Yeah.
It has to be valid. It has to be solid. It must be clear. Action steps must be there. It must capture a particular vision. It must deliver within the context of the person who has the idea before it is valid. This is the type of thinking and the type of processing that we must embrace so that the quality of the kind of things that we present and as ideas is deeper than just any thought that just crosses your mind. This thing has to be solid. It is on this level that I can agree that ideas rule the world. Such ideas are practical, they are clear, and they are concrete enough, right? That when you present them, you can mobilize light in that direction, and then it's done.
All right. Then can we put our hands together for them? These guys are phenomenal. Like the real phenomenal, not that guy is phenomenal. All right. And now, but now this is where I want to go now. We've spoken about ideas, and I'm going to come to Kingsley May because he's a business development consultant. Now, so it's an idea, right? But the idea, as the both of you have spoken, is now like a seed that needs to be put somewhere. So let's speak to the business environments that these ideas are. Do we have the nature, the kind of environment that anybody can innovate and execute and it will work? Being someone who has been in, because you've had people bring ideas to you and your job is to execute. So let's go.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so ideas and execution. Just following the conversation that Joseph and Joshua had already talked about. You see, idea starts from a thought. And for me, we can easily accept maxims and phrases and sentences and statements, but we sometimes don't spend time to meditate on these sentences and statements. Idea rules the world. The question is, what kind of world do you want this idea to rule?
Okay.
Because when you start by asking yourself, what kind of world do you want this idea to rule? It will then begin to influence the path with which you're taking with the idea.
Yeah.
I bring it to social media. Mark Zuckerberg, the idea from a room. What was he trying to rule? The means of communication and connecting. And so, taking that as an example, you are sitting here, you went out there, you had a conversation, an idea spark in your head, you had a thought, and you're like, oh, this could be a great idea. You cannot validate that idea just by how much you feel about the idea.
Okay.
You can't validate it as a product that can be sold in the marketplace just by the fact that you feel, you are thinking, you are assuming. So Mark saw the idea first. What did he do? He created a what we call prototype.
Yeah.
And he tested it among his department in school to see how validatory that idea is.
Yeah.
And it was tested, and the overwhelming response gave him the boldness to say, let's take it to other campuses first,
Yeah.
before we start pitching for investors.
Okay.
So when we have thoughts as business people about ideas, you have to create a sample of that idea in form of a product, either a tangible product or an intangible product, and give as a sample for people to test it. It is when they have tested the ideas and they give you feedback
Yeah.
that would determine the next phase, whether we can now proceed to creating a product in the business place from the idea.
Okay. Thank you. That clap now. As it is that he didn't know me. Did it knock me? I was thinking, did it not knock me too? All right. All right. Are you done? Okay. So this thought is very profound, and I'm going to speak to it because this is Think Make Grow, and the keynote speaker today, I banter with him a lot. We bounce ideas off each other, and it was in a conversation that we discussed the idea of freemium, right? And he taught me that freemium is what happens when you go to buy suya, right? So you see that's when you come and meet the suya guy, he will cut something and give to you. That is what we call the what? Testing. You guys are behaving like, is it because of Tinubu that we stop eating suya? But we eat suya, right? So what he gives to you is the testing. So guess what? I have done the research. And if you notice that you come to the suya place, he doesn't tell you to wait so that he will warm the testing. Have you noticed it? He will, in that, while you're there, he just gives you the testing. Now, another trick is, do you notice that the meat that he cuts for you is not the one that was the testing? Yes? I'm seeing people's eyes. Now people are thinking, hey, now what's that man they do? Now, that one that he gives you as freemium is there, is ready, is spiced. It is there to make you buy in. That's one. Now, the second thing you also get, now there are the very wicked guys that mess with your head. They will give you the second testing. So you now, and the funny thing is you're not claiming it is your right. Do you know that you have paid for that testing even before you bought the suya? Because he is the one who knows how many pieces of meat he will give you for 100 naira. No matter how much you argue. And we like to do that when we go to buy. Okay, this one at the 500 naira one. I beg. And suya is the only place where I see people, rich people, argue. And then, no, this thing for 500 naira, I beg, put more. And then he will now nearly cut his fingers twice, and you feel satisfied. He has given you freemium of the lift off. That's what I'm getting from. Just create a version of your idea that is easily executable and can be experienced. Can we put our hands together for our panelists, please? Thank you, guys. All right, so we're just going to delve straight into the keynote session. Thank you. And can we put our hands together for them? Now, one thing, allow me to reiterate, the reason why we have the kind of conference we have and the panelists that we have is because Making Nigeria, for me, value is mostly post-conference. The networks that you get. I remember yesterday, I got calls for contacts of panelists, all the panelists, right? So what we do here, we are giving you freemiums and teasers of them. Like, I've cut, and we'll give you second testing, then you have to go and price them as it is. But we are going straight into the keynote speech. Now, this guy, allow me to call him Guy. I'm the only one who is allowed to call him Guy here. He's a very dynamic mind, and I say that for free. Sir Ikechinwogu can talk for 2 years, and he will be making sense, and he will not repeat himself. He can yarn, and he has proof of success, because there are people who yarn, and they have nothing to show for it. He is the co-founder of Synforest Nigeria Limited. He is the proprietor of Tierra Primary and Secondary School. Is an academy now, so give it to that. And there are also several other businesses under his belt. He's one of the youngest knights of the Anglican Communion, and as you see, he has an afro. It's because he brain the pop, and I call him Father. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in conference to the Making Nigeria 2023, Sir Ikechinwogu. Clap, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hardly listen to people like that. Good morning, everybody. I think the best part for me is the age grade I see here, the age spread. Young people. I didn't want to see old people. Because at a certain age, you just get frustrated with the reality of what these young men were talking about here. And you some sort of stop ideating as you used to. You know, there's something about ideation and exuberance. And when you feel young and fly, and Nigeria has not happened to you, and the world has not happened to you, you think everything is possible. Wait until you begin to advance into graduation, youth service, and you need a job. I've seen a young man who got a first class from marine engineering, but he couldn't find a job. He had to go back to school to study mechanical engineering, and insisted on making a second class upper so he could get a job. Yeah. How many of you realize that some third class graduates are the most employable, the most loyal people in the workforce? I've worked with all of them. I've worked with first class, 2-1, 2-2. In fact, the new arrogant kids on the block are the 2-1 graduates because they know they are the most employable. Everyone is looking for them. They don't even last in your workforce. They want to move because they feel they've got a CV. Anyone, Shell wants them, Total wants them, the big companies want them. But you employ one third class. Now, he is not stupid. He's not a dummy. He'll be so loyal, so dedicated. I've had all of them. The most irregular of all of them. In fact, the worst staff I've ever had on my team are the first class graduates. They don't last 3 months. They want to go. They want to go back for further studies. They want to go to Canada. They want to jackpot. Nigeria is never good enough for them. I'm not sure anyone still remains in Nigeria. Most of them want to leave. And I'll tell you, I'm not of the stock of them that will leave Nigeria anytime soon. I don't have that interest. I haven't seen myself. The most frustrating stay I had outside Nigeria was 20 days. I almost died. I hate it outside. Take it from me. I hate it. Read my lips. I hate it outside Nigeria. We must make Nigeria work. If you want to punish me, just tie me and take me to London. Keep me there for 16 days. By the 16th day, I would escape and come back to Nigeria. It doesn't work for me. Human beings are created differently. That is my own reality. Or that's my own idea of myself. We're waiting for the slides. Are we ready? Okay. Ideas rule the world. Everyone has got a certain personality prototype. This is who you want to be, or otherwise, this is who you think you want to be. Sometimes we don't even know the best of ourselves. Most of us, when we're young, we want to be doctors, lawyers, nurses, and all that. Until life happens and you realize, okay, I can be an entrepreneur. A lot of people who became entrepreneurs stumbled onto entrepreneurship because they had no other choice. They just had to find something, just to find a footing. Most of the young guys who would end up in entrepreneurship of any sort are doing so because they need to marry. You get what I'm talking about? Because the jobs are not coming and the age is taking a toll on them, and then they need to get a wife. The girl they got hooked up to in school is at the risk of leaving them for another person who's more stable, and so they just find themselves doing stuff and they just want to make money. In the course of this teaching, you will realize that it's not really about money. It's not really about money. If you desired to make money for which you get into business, you can never make enough of it. And we've had cases of young men, young people, who in the quest for money over value have drifted. So a lot of you here are into some venture, maybe fintech. You want to go into forex trading. There's no job anywhere. You just want to do something. You want to make money. Forex trading. And then from forex trading, you get into cryptocurrency. And you think you're good. And you attract other people's money. And you come in until crypto happens to you. A young boy was on the verge of committing suicide on 3rd Mainland Bridge. They had to catch him. And you know, you don't own yourself. You don't own your life. If you want to kill it, if you want to take your own life, you better not get caught. Because if they catch you alive, you will be arrested. You don't know that? You've not heard that before? Me taking my own life is like me murdering somebody. I don't belong to myself. I belong to the state. And so if I attempt to take my life, I had better not get caught. Because if they catch me trying to take it's not my life. They'll first take me to rehab. Because I'm not normal. Then after taking me to rehab, then they would lock me up somewhere. I don't know I've been arrested. And they'll keep me there for months until they are sure I've been cleansed of all those tendencies. So the guy wanted to jump into the 3rd bin. They caught him. I don't know if they freed him now. That was 2 years ago. So between money and value, choose value. Money is the shadow of work. Money is a byproduct of value. So money is what happens when you create value and you exchange it for substance. So they give you money because you've created value. Which is why we're going to be exploring products and services as a product. You're either offering a service or offering a product as a service. So your ideas must add up. It's not just about ideation. It's not just about thinking. It's about thinking to value. So if your ideas don't create value, if your ideas only line your pocket, then you may not be creating value. Which is why politics as a career is not life. It doesn't create much value. Running around, commissioning a few projects should not be your prime desire. Making money should not be your prime desire, but making a marked difference to human existence, to people's lives. Does that make sense now? All right, let's get to the next page, please. Now, let's look at ideas like a poem. You know what a poem is, right? Poem. But now we've looked at ideas as P for people. Your ideas must border on people advancement, people growth, people progress, the progress of humanity. Okay? So I like to deal with people and relationships. I call it the 5 fingers. The 5 fingers of relationship. So you would never forget this. Number 1, small. Okay? Look at the weakest of people. and try to solve your problems around them. Frail, very weak people, dependent people. If you can solve the problem of humanity around giving strength to the weak, then you're creating value. Number 2, relationships. Relationships matter. Build formidable relationships in your lifetime. In all of your ideation, in all of your creativity, build relationships that count. We call them partnerships. My partner yesterday spoke about partnerships. I'm not sure our brand would have been in existence if not for each other. We sometimes look around ourselves and realize no one person could have pulled this alone. So partnerships, relationships, right? Then the next one is the tallest finger. You have your height. How high will you stand? So aspire to become one of the top 10% of your brand. Top 10%, your brand anywhere. So you could grow from the local environment to the global environment. But aspire. Your aspirations must be top notch. Be the best. And that's why you must drive at excellence. Then number 4 is this, the index finger. It's for instruction. You use it to point, right? So your ideas must be pointed, but you must gain instruction that is relevant to your growth story and your growth potentials. Don't just get ideas and sit down. Learn from other people. Are there those in your environment who have been in that space, who have tried out their hands on the same idea? Okay, learn from them. You would learn a thing or two from them. Even the Bible says, study to show yourself approved. A workman that needs not be ashamed, rightfully dividing the word of truth. So instructions matter. And then this is the thumb. It puts them together. Okay, it's the strongest finger on your hand. Okay, build strength. Build formidability. Build walls of support around yourself. Build security systems so you don't just fall. So don't just make all the money. While you make money, set something apart for the rainy day. You must save something. You must reinvest something. You must divest until you become a very formidable force. The 5 fingers around your ideas. Okay, so now that's for people. People matter. People consume your products. So whatever idea you have that doesn't hover around the people and building empathy for the people and building solutions for the people, that idea should be thrown out the window. It's not good enough. So how are you solving people problems? How are you participating with people realities? How are you engaging people and their ideals in your idea? Then the next one is operations. Operations will detail us on the hows, the processes, the procedures. How will your brand run? Like Ime was telling us, okay, testing the waters. Mark Zuckerberg, right? Testing the waters. Okay, so sometimes they run assessments. Sometimes they run questionnaires. Sometimes they reach out to research organizations to test the waters through whatever schemes. If the only person to whom your idea appeals is you, then rethink that idea. Operations. Will you need a team? How many hands will you need to assist you, to help you run your brand? How many staff? It's not just saying I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a businessman, I'm going to do this. Listen, did you know there was a difference between a businessman and an entrepreneur? The difference is simple. The businessman wants to make money, so he's in business to make money. The entrepreneur is in business to create jobs and to create value. They are not the same people. And that's why a businessman could swindle you. He could do anything. An entrepreneur will scarcely do that because he knows he's around for a long time. You see a businessman, what business are you into? I'm into contracting. And then 6 months later, he's into health. The next one is into supplies. The next one is into clearing and forwarding. He's into everything. But an entrepreneur could stand on one thing for a very long time. So what is that one thing you could do for so long that you get known by it? What is that one thing you could do for so long that you get known by it? So we look at Nigeria is like a typical businessman. So we don't prepare for the Olympics until it's 2 weeks to the Olympics. You get what I'm talking about? You remember when we were to play a match and 5 hours to the game, we were still airborne. You remember that match? Yeah, that's Nigeria. But then you go to the Olympics training school. After the Beijing Olympics, some journalists visited the Olympics training school in Beijing, China. And they saw some 1.5-year-olds. What are these ones doing here? They said to the journalists, they said, these ones are being prepared for the Olympics to win gold in 12 years' time. That's long term. To win what? Gold. So some nations are going to have fun to see what Brazilian girls look like. They heard that Brazilian girls are very shapely. Then some nations are going to win gold. And which is why you always see certain nations. Go through the Olympics listing, the performance listing. You see certain nations. China, America, China. Every other year, they are competing. It's keen, it's stern, it's fierce. Because they want to win gold. China is a rich nation. America is a rich nation. They don't need the Olympics money. But then it's a thing of national pride to go in. They are intentional. You must be intentional about your brand. And it starts with your operations. The way you do things. The mannerisms, the approaches. Are you polite? Are you rude? The way you do things, operations. Then the next one is economics. Economics is where the money comes in. Okay, how much are you going to earn? Like I said, don't ever pursue money. Write it down. Don't ever pursue money if you're going into business because you will never make enough of it. Just offer value. The money will come. It may take time. Now, you may not make all the money you need at once. You may not make all the money you want on the same day, but the money will come. I was talking to Uncle Uche earlier. There's a certain proposition we made to the government like 20 years ago. And guess what? That proposition is just about being birthed within the system. It's just about being implemented within the system. So sometimes you need patience. It's long term. They were discussing with the Sheikh of Dubai. They said, what's your favorite sport? He said, endurance horse racing. And they asked him why. He said, the short term is never good enough. If you must be great at anything, think long term. Think tomorrow. Tomorrow counts. Don't look now. Because I can tell you in another 20 years, practically every one of you would not be the same. No man gets to the same farm field and finds the same plowman working there even after 20 years. In 20 years' time, some of you will be grandfathers and grandmothers. I will be. Right? In 20 years' time, some of you might even be the governors. The things you're complaining about now, will you come back and do the same thing or worse? The presidents. Time changes everything. So look to the future. But make sure you articulate your idea. I watched a movie in 1985, Back to the Future. Most of you were not born then. None of you. Okay, very few of you were born. How many of you saw that movie? Michael J. Fox? Yeah. Now, when he met the mentor, the guy who eventually designed the time machine, he went into the future actually, and then he showed the guy, this is this. And the guy was like, wow, these are the sketches I made of that thing you're seeing from the past. Right? I made them. So make sketches of your future dreams. That school you want to build, make sketches. That idea you want to have, make sketches. Okay? That car you want to design, that airplane, whatever, make sketches and keep it somewhere. There's something about goal setting and sketch designing. Okay? It has a way of calling forth the forces of the universe. Upon that your idea. I don't know how it works, but have you noticed that when you write your goal down, it has a greater likelihood of being achieved than when you just think it in your head. So every ideator must have a think pad. I have several think pads around me, including my phone. So sometimes I'm sleeping and a brand new idea comes at 1 a.m. I wake up and I jot it down, I go back to sleep. You may never remember it again. Have you gone through your notepads after like 6 months and you ask yourself, what was I thinking when I wrote this? You don't even remember that this thought crossed your head. And let me answer one of the questions there. Okay? For every idea you have, 5 persons in near space are thinking the same thing. So it's about the first man standing. Remember Thomas Edison and the light bulb? He was not the first person probably that propounded that theory or came up with that idea that ideated the light bulb. But he was just the first to have patented it. Because when he came out of the patenting office, you heard that he saw an entire line of people who also came to patent the same idea. But he's known. The world doesn't record the second likelihood. They record the first patent. So, have a think pad. Write it down. Operations. Economics. So, you begin to earn. You begin to make money. How do you save? How do you invest? Your methodology, your financial methodology, your sustainability plan. You don't consume all of what you earn. How are you going to find funding? We're going to talk about funding and investments in a short while. But how are you going to find funding for your idea? Because not every investor will believe in your own idea. So back in the day when we started, we met all sorts of people. Nobody could bring out, from 50 million, back then, 2001, 50 million we needed young boys, 23-year-olds, giving you 50 million. Who does that? 50 million, we dropped it to 25, then to 10, to 5. At the point of 5, I got to a man, a member of my church, who was a bank manager. And I asked him, can you invest? The man listened to what we're saying. And he said, I like your idea, but why don't you work for me instead? So he wanted to pull out 500K, not even 5M, 500K, give to me, and then we will become his staff. So Sim4Rest today would have become his company. Maybe with his own name, would have been working for him. Don't be in a hurry. Don't pursue money like that. Cool down. Be patient. The money will come if you are intentional. Let me tell you something you must never forget. If you wake up in the morning, you go to the river, you pick up stones, you throw into the river. You pick up stones, you throw into the river. In a matter of time, as useless as that seems, in a matter of time, even CNN will come to televise the man who has been picking up stones and throwing stones for 5 years. Do you understand? For 10 years. They will make a story around it. Have you watched National Geographic? Some men just go to snap ants and you pay to watch them. It's not stupid on the long run. Just the same way when we're coming up with the idea we're going to curb exam malpractice, people thought we were stupid. My uncle told me one day, leave that here, say just convert those past questions to textbooks. You must have heard my partner tell you some bit of the stories. I'm not going to repeat all of them. Okay? But we said we're going to create an electronic mode for helping solve malpractice. We knew that the e-exam system was going to be top-notch to identify with examination malpractice. But nobody saw yesterday what is happening today. I remember us going to JAMB and telling JAMB that, look, we have created a formula. Because then exam malpractice was a big deal. I don't know about now. We have created a formula. We put past questions from 1978 till that was 2003. Right? From 1978 till 2003, we had solved JAMB, WAEC past questions. And we had put them in CD form. And we wanted to have JAMB run with it. So you sit over the computer and answer questions. CBT. That was when it was born. And JAMB liked the idea. But they said, can you... In 2015. Hello. 7 plus 5 is what? 12. So it took 12 years for Nigeria to brace up to the reality of an idea that was born in 2001. So, but we had kept at it. We had kept at it. And today CBT is all over the place. I'm sure some of you are looking at me with my afro hair. Who dash monkey banana? Why? What does he think? How dare he say? Forget all of those details. We have our story with us. So sometimes there are people who believe in your idea. Keep at it. Let them doubt you in the future. But what is important is the idea has happened, and you've earned the money from it. I can't count on how many opportunities we've had, scholarship exposures, and all. We have run scholarships. Some of you have been direct beneficiaries. Some of you, some of you have relatives, home and abroad. Some of the young children in Rivers State who are in the diaspora today are beneficiaries of one simple idea: to put together past questions into an electronic form, CBT, and then have it run. And it's been very helpful. Federal level, state level. Amazing ideas. Listen, no man should talk down your ideas. There is no such thing as little idea. There is no such thing as dull idea. It's an idea, just sketch it. Find the funds around it. And then, metamorphosis. How will your brand grow? How will you watch your idea grow? You found the funding. How will the brand you put together grow? Don't be pugnacious. Don't be quarrelsome. You fight everybody and you push them. No. We've been partners. We've remained partners since 2001. If I tell you how the partnership started, you'll be amazed. It was through food. So we're roommates. We belong to the same fellowship back then, NIFES. You know, food is very powerful. Food is very powerful. Right? Food. Now, we would get money and then we would get one of the ladies, our friends, to cook for us. She'll go to our hostel, cook, and bring the food. Right? So every evening we had a reason to meet and eat. And the culture continued till today. We still eat together till today. And we had one funny culture we had. So you have to eat fast, because then I was a slow eater. The rule was, if you eat slowly, anybody that finishes his food first should come and eat your own. And so everybody would have to hustle up. So we'll go back to work. Sometimes we'll leave our homes and go stay together, because we had to make this idea work. And it bonded us and bonded us. Two things we always did together. We always ate together and we always prayed together. We're still praying till this very day. We used to pray on Fridays then. We're still praying on Fridays. And those things put us together. And then we saw our brand metamorphose from a 4-man startup to a 7-man board team. And then it grew on 20 people. Today we are currently more than 200, okay, direct staff. But what about the indirect staff? The direct beneficiaries of our brand. Because we used to say we're 200. We have a staff strength of 200 until one young man corrected us in a forum and said, there are some of us you don't know. We're not on your staff list. But in actual sense, we have earned our living from the derivatives of your product. So ideas are stronger than you think. Your ideas can travel through distances that you can never even imagine. Just like you write a book and your book will enter bedrooms and toilets you would never visit in your lifetime. That's the strength of an idea. Your idea will meet and greet people that won't even know you, that won't even care about you. It's like back in the day, some 10, 15 years ago, we had these MTN umbrellas. You know them? We used to make call centers. How many of the MTN staff knew them? But these were derivatives of the MTN brand. And so what was important to MTN was the money was fetching them. Okay? And some of these men could marry and run their families upon another man's idea. That's how powerful. So you must never let your dreams die like that. Okay? Let's get to the next page very quickly. Next page. Yeah, so now this is the earliest advice my father gave to me. He always, when I was a child, I was very lazy. I was very, very lazy. I was sluggard. And then my father will always say it when he's scolding me. Go to the ant, you sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. So one day when I came of age, I said to study this scripture. Why is daddy always saying this to me? And this has transformed my life. So today I call myself an ant. ANT is acronym for Ambassador for National Transformation. Today I'm a transformation enthusiast, and the ideals of national transformation for me got redefined when I understood the perspective of the ant. And most of what I'll be talking about right now will be around the world of the ant. I'm an ant, not an antelope, not an elephant. I'm an ant. Okay? Now, watch this. Say, which having no guide, overseer or ruler, provided her meat in the summer and gathered her food in the harvest. Now let's get to the next page very quickly. Now, idea breeding grounds. You know, you have solutions, you have relationships, you have influence, resources, skills, opportunity, experience. Do not despise any of these, because your idea could come from interacting with people. Your idea could come from watching a movie. You could get ideas from experiences. You could get ideas from your passion. You could get your ideas from your enemy, from the neighborhood, from reading books. You could get your ideas from anywhere. You could get inspiration from prayers. So don't wait for an idea stereotype. No, ideas don't come from one source and in one pattern. Ideas could come from any of these places. Let's get to the next page, please. Yeah. Now, your idea must answer to basic intents. Your ideas must not be selfish. They must not be stupid. And which is why your ideas must advance community. It's not just about making money. So your ideas must answer to the what question. Just like the ant. The ant asks herself, what question? The what question. So your ideas must be substantiated. They should not be vague. They should not be vain. Put substance to your ideas. They may not be what you can touch and feel, but they should make sense. When I talk about MTN, I've never seen data, but I know that MTN provides data. MTN provides a platform for communication. Is that correct? You don't touch the communication, but it's substantiated. At least you should be able to tell people what you do for a living. Don't tell them I'm a businessman. Tell people what you do for a living. So your ideas should be substantiated. Now the how question, the procedure to running your dream. How will this idea come to be? How? You must answer the how question. How can I put A and B? How can I put C and D together to form this? Now, number 3, your ideas must be seasonal. They are time bound. There are some of you that it's like in winter. There are some outfits that can only sell in winter. And after the winter season, guess what? They cycle them out and then they produce new ones. Is that correct? Yeah. Some ideas are seasonal. Some ideas can only come out during, you remember the NSAS protest, Sorosoke, the flags and all that. The Nigerian flag sold a lot. You remember the last elections, some parties had their flags selling more. They asked one Malam, one Abuki. He said, this one is 500 naira. This one is 100 naira. The same. So you can only sell certain ideas during politics. So they are seasonal. What season is it? There are some too that are all year round. You can sell those ideas all year round. So your ideas must be seasonal. Some ideas, the best of ideas today will be obsolete tomorrow. If you go to the internet and Google World Economic Forum 2025, identify, you realize that some jobs that you're clamoring for today will be obsolete in the next 3 years. Some of them are going out. Now, it's been made worse with AI. Those of you who are research experts and all you do is research for people, you need to upgrade your systems and your standards because AI is helping young students with research. Okay, AI is doing everything. Right now, there's text-to-speech, there's all of that. AI is taking care. ChatGPT. So some ideas are seasonal. You must know the seasons and you must learn how to upgrade. You must learn how to read the times and grow with the times. That's how to stay relevant. So sometimes, now we are getting older, we're in our 40s, okay, some of us are in our 50s and all that. Guess what? When we began this, we're young hotheads, okay, young boys, young school leavers, nothing to bother about. The only thing we thought about was when we will marry, right? Now, what we do is succession planning. Tomorrow in the office, we're having an entire meeting with the younger generation. Because in a few years, for me, in 14 years, I'll be 60. So we're getting older, right? We're probably retiring but 14 years is no time. 40 years is 2 political dispensations. Is that correct? Yeah. So will the organization die? Not likely. So let's get younger people to come in. Interns, young school leavers, and they are coming in with their hot ideas. You think you're the smartest. I was talking to Uncle Luchi. I said, grow your brand to the extent or to the point where you become the least relevant person in the room. You only limit yourself and your styling to final endorsements. The decisions will be taken by the staff themselves. That way you give them a sense of belongingness. You give them a sense of ownership. And when they own the brand will not die. Because they are living for their lives. They are living for their salaries. They are living for you. You are probably old. You're getting old. You're getting outdated. They only call you the boss, but let them do the thing. Let them move the motions. You're only delivering speeches. I've been here since morning. I've been here practically all day. What's happening at the office? There must be hands out there in the office that do the work better than you. They are hungry for growth. So while Okocha is retiring, Mikel Obi is coming on board. Do you understand? Yeah. So, it is seasonal. Your ideas must be geographical. So where will you deploy those ideas? There are some ideas that can only be deployed in Sambisa Forest. Some other ideas can be deployed in Lagos. Some can be deployed in Port Harcourt. Not all ideas can be deployed everywhere. There are some that can be deployed in many places. Okay? So where can your idea best be deployed? But as long as there are human beings, there should be a deployment environment for your ideas. So your ideas should be should be environment specific. Okay? Now you must also answer the question of institution. You must create a sustainable continuity process. Sustainability. Your idea, I'm talking about 22 years on, we're still living. But you know the dynamics of growth, right? We began as a system that would curb exam malpractice, and then we evolved to a CBT system, to exam self-help system. Today we're dealing with legal systems. We're dealing with health management systems. We're dealing with training young people at the Tech Creek. We're doing all of those things. We're branching out. We're expanding. All of that is geared towards institutionality. At the end of the day, I doubt if any of my children will walk in Sin Forest. I doubt it. Because funny enough, most of my children are not directly interested in most of what I do. Because there are new trends. There are new trends. So whose sons will be the next CEOs? Is it my sons or my partner's sons? That is where contentions will come. You know what I'm talking about? So open up your mind to possibilities. Because in the new scheme, my first daughter is studying fintech. I did mechanical engineering. Right? There are new realities. My second daughter wants to do medicine. And we don't have anything to do with medicine. So you might be building brands for outsiders to come. But what is important is build an institution that can sustain itself without you. Build your brand to such formidable extent that your presence fast becomes irrelevant. That's where you can retire and you don't keep getting calls. That's where you can go to the grave without keep getting calls. If you design your brand frame strictly around you, you're designing a frame that will soon die. So institutionality, build an institution, a system that will not evolve around you. Like I said, I'm saying it again, I'm not in the office. So what's going on there? What's going on there? So if the brand hovered around me, then it will be suffering. But they don't even notice I'm not in the office. I've got staff that don't even greet me. You don't have to greet me. Do you understand? No, you don't have to greet me. You call me anything you like. Down our own business. At the end of the day, we're transacting. You work, I pay you. All I owe you is your pay. All you owe me is the work. We're offering value. Who benefits? Nigeria benefits. That's it. If I don't pay you, you can do shobe. If you don't work, I can sack you. Not so. That is what brings us together. I don't care who you marry. Whether albino or black monkey or monkey like me or whatever, albino like Nia. I don't care. I don't care. What is important is that you must offer value. That's all that matters. That's the relationship we have. The only relationship we have is value. So you're building an institution. Okay? Then what happened to your platform? Okay, so let's get to the next page. Yeah. So your ideas must answer to basic intent. So that's where it is stated in clarity. Yeah. So wisdom for storage, values preservation. Your ideas must preserve value. So mitigate waste. In Nigeria, we waste too much. The world has known us as the most wasteful humans on earth. We waste too much. We waste too much. So let me tell you a little bit about some of our wasteful policies, government policies. Some years back, you must have heard that the Abia State government under Okeze Ikpeazu was looking to partner with some Chinese company, right? They wanted to invest $1.5 billion in Aba for shoe manufacturing and all that. And I began to think, that was the same time that we're providing military service to protect the Fulani, the herdsmen, the bandits, ravaging our farmlands, okay, because their cattle needed to move. And listen, movement of cattle is outdated. Nobody does that anymore. I went to Obudu Cattle Ranch and I interacted with the Becheve people. They are the people that own the Obudu Cattle Ranch. I saw cattle. I thought it was an elephant. I don't know if it was male or female. That's why I'm calling it cattle. I thought it was an elephant. It was so big it couldn't move. It couldn't stand on the feet. Now that's what happens when you don't move them around. Those things you see are not healthy. We're punishing them and we should be locked up. We're punishing them. Because are you aware, in the early 80s, we had what we called BCC Lion of Boko, a football club. You heard about them. Now, BCC Lion of Boko was a Nigerian football club, but the club was sustained by CSR from an Italian company that would come to Nigeria, buy hides from them. So as you kill the cattle, they take the skin. They take everything. There is no part of the cow that is useless. Should I say it again? From the skin to the meat, to the horn, to the hoof, no part is useless. So even the hoofs and the horns were used to produce some designer buttons for shirts. So even the dung is used for... So I was in Thailand, and the cattle dung is channeled into a reservoir, right? Washed with water into a reservoir. Now, even the urine is recycled as drinking water. And then the dung, even in Germany, German water is recycled. Yeah, so the dung, right, is separated through a separation process. The liquid part of the dung and the urine and the water, wash water, is used for drinking. Then the dung, the solid part, is used for manure. Then the gas, waste is solid, liquid, and gas. The gas is used for methane that is used to power their gas turbines to run the farm. If you knew that, why will you let the cattle roam? They are now, look at what is the economics of letting them roam, and they are destroying people's farmlands. What idea? That's why I said your ideas must not be selfish. Your ideas must be liberal enough to make sense. Liberal enough. So if I would encourage the federal government to partner with the Abia state government in view of that reasoning to ensure that, look, there's backward integration and everybody is happy, everybody is settled. The farmers are relieved. Okay? And then the same cattle rearers are making money. Your ideas must be liberal enough, and they must make sense, and they must not be wasteful, and they must preserve value. Let's get to the next page. Let's get to the next page. Next page quickly. Yeah, so ideas build upon the startup ecosystem. Now, what is the startup ecosystem? The startup ecosystem is an interconnected network of a lot of interests. So when you talk about ideas, you talk about startups. You know, Israel was trying to make Jerusalem the startup capital of the world. And at some point, when I was reading that, I was imagining making Port Harcourt the startup capital of Nigeria. For now, Lagos seems to be hitting it, and nobody else wants to think. So the prime ideation cities in Nigeria, we could call them Lagos. Which one again? Port Harcourt, Benin, right? But it's not very intense in Benin. It's not very intense in Benin. I hope they stop all the Yahoo thing, right? That's not an idea. That's not an idea. Okay? Then you have Owerri. Owerri, they're also thinking, but Yahoo is also coming in. So Yahoo is coming everywhere. Coming everywhere. Okay? So, but these boys actually are idle. Some of the Yahoo boys are some of the most intelligent boys in town. But because they are frustrated, they want to unleash on society. And they should be discouraged from doing that. Some of them are very smart. If you engage them, you ask them what their ideas are. Okay? And you'll be amazed what some of them will come up with. So please, you who are listening here, it's a distraction. You can do better than that. Find something useful. Make sure you're not selfish with your idea. Make sure you think about adding value to society, adding meat to life. Okay? So we have government initiatives, venture capitalists, angel investors, research organizations, higher educational institutions, and service providers to support the growth and success of new businesses. So, in essence, we have the environment, the goal, right? Talent pooling hubs, access to funding, infrastructure, and support. So what is the idea? There's always going to be an environment to the startup ecosystem. So where am I deploying my business? Like I said, it must be geographical, right? Where am I deploying my business? And there's a place called the Tech Creek, opposite the Pleasure Park in Port Harcourt. The idea was created so young people could come together, okay, have access to Wi-Fi run by the state, government institutions. Don't get to this page yet. The other one, the previous page. Yeah, run by the government. It was a government initiative, right? So you could come with your laptop and begin to create. So through that means we had a lot of graphics designers. Some of the cream of the best graphics designers you have in Port Harcourt today, a lot of them were trained there, right? Over 70% of the animators you have in Port Harcourt were trained there. So they wake up in the morning, they come and they're animating. And some of them are beginning to animate for brands in Lagos, for brands in India and all that. We've got staff today who work for themselves, principally, but they are technically working for a company in India. So a company in India gets a job off an American brand, and then they're looking for who will run the show for them. And they've discovered that some of the Nigerian tech guys are some of the best in the world. So guess what? It's all techie. They don't need to sit down. So they hand the jobs down to them, and these boys work. There are online jobs you could do. You earn $10 a day, $1 an hour, and all of that. And at the end of the month, you see yourself smiling home with $1,000, with $5,000. Because you have your hand easy. You have no reason to be lazy. Now, some of that was encouraged at the Tech Creek. So we've created a hub. There's an environment. Now, the beauty of this is when you sit over with smart guys, their smartness rubs off on you. If you want to be an idiot, spend time with idiots. If there are 5 idiots, you'll be the 6th one. Because there's a way idiots talk. This thing no go work. Nigeria jaka jaka. You will hear them. Nigeria is not my Nigeria. We can make Nigeria work. It's on us. All the negative narratives about Nigeria, most of them are floated and run and advanced by young people. And the truth of the matter is that we are going to be the papas of tomorrow. And if we don't fix Nigeria now to the point of our convenience, then Nigeria will never work. It's on us to make Nigeria work for our own direct benefits and the benefits of our children. So when young people come together, smart guys, what happens? Conversation. There are people I love to talk to. Nia told you about that. I love to talk to Nia. I love to talk to him. He's very cerebral. He's a very smart guy. Sometimes he titles some of my books. There's one of my books, like Gold in the Gutters. I had given it a certain title, like Jewel on a Dunghill. He said, why don't you call it like Gold in the Gutters? And it stuck. That's the title till today. Ideas, interaction. Who are you talking to? Who are you spending your time with? Who gets your ear time? You easily become a function of who you listen to the most. So if you only listen to peasants, you will become a peasant. If you listen to geniuses, you become a genius. I was talking to Uncle Uche. I said to him, peasantry is not an economic state. It's a mindset. I'll prove it to you. If you give a child 50 naira, what will he buy? Biscuits, right? If you give that same child 500 naira, what will he buy? More biscuits. If you give that child 50,000 naira, he'll buy more biscuits, maybe some chocolates to add. That's his level of reasoning. And if he doesn't grow above that assumed capacity, even when that child gets into government, he'll keep spending money on biscuits. It's a peasant mentality. If you call the average vulcanizer, who's not innovative, who's not an idealist, and give him 1 million naira now, he will not buy more vulcanizing machines. He will not expand because he doesn't care about expansion. The first thing he will do is to close down the nearest bar to his household. For the first time, he will return home drunk. That is if he even returns home, because he'll get a new girlfriend. And by the time he realizes what is going on, he has spent out. He has squandered 900,000. He probably would have loaned 200 because he's the new kid on the block. And then when he wakes up from his stupor, guess what? He's left with 50, maybe 20,000 to come invest in the business. And he comes back to you and says, I spent on some things and this was how far the business. It wasn't how far it went. That's why if you invest in the average taxi driver business, he never brings returns after the 3rd time. You get what I'm talking about, right? If you've bought a car and given to a taxi driver, he will bring returns the first week, the second week. By the 3rd week, he has gone to mechanic and the business is dead. It's peasant thinking. And I've seen professionals with peasant thinking. I've seen adults with peasant thinking. It's a mindset thing. So when you sit over with intelligent people who share nothing but ideas, guess what? You become intelligent, innovative, and idealistic. So change your cell group. Change your conversation line. There are some of you who have spent too much time talking with the wrong people. If your life must change over the next 1 year or over the next 6 months, we're getting to the end of 2023. If you must see marked changes in 2024 in your life, then begin to disengage to re-engage. Disengage from negatives, re-engage with positives, because your life must add value. Your conversations must add value. Ask questions. Interaction is about questioning and answering. So ask questions around the field of interest. This is what I would rather do. This is what I want to be doing. Okay? It must count. It must add value. All right? Yeah. So infrastructure. So you may not afford the office space, but the government is able to put it together. It may not be government alone. It might be concerned stakeholders. We are involved in that as well. We do a lot of that. Supporting young people. But personally, I think I'm discouraged from doing that. Because what young people want is money, not funding. What young people want is money, not funding. Now you're realizing I'm saying the truth. Because a lot of times, how much is this business? Oh, it's going to cost 20K, 30K. And then you give them that 20K, 30K, and you don't hear from them. They stop taking your calls until the money is out. Then next day you see them in a party or in a program like this, then they want to dodge. They've eaten your 20K. And imagine how many 20Ks you've given to 1,000 people. They think you don't have the money. One young boy came to me and said, sir, I'm praying that God will bless you. Why do you want God to bless me? So you can have money. I said, why all of a sudden? Say, so when you have money, you can now give me. I said, why don't you pray that God should bless you to have money so you don't disturb me? He said, no, God won't answer that one. He'll answer the one. It's an entitlement mindset. God can bless everyone. And he'll bless everyone. But what are you going to do with your own blessing? So kill that peasant thinking. If you can be big, why stay small? If you can make it to the top, why stay at the bottom? Some of us waste so much time with our phones. If you spend 2 hours in a day with your phone and that phone is not advancing knowledge to you or fetching you money, you're wasting too much time. All the Facebooking, tweeting, social media, there's so much knowledge. I'm on Instagram. I only go there to learn. I don't get there to like people's pictures. I go there to learn. I learn every day. The only platform I communicate on is Twitter. Everything else, I've not been on Facebook for more than 5 years. I don't know what it looks like now. So it means I began with a 1 month Facebook fast. Because every night, sometimes I'm awake till 2 a.m. I'm typing, I'm teaching. But it became like an addiction. Even on a Sunday morning, Saturday breaking Sunday, I'm dropping. It could be addictive. You think you're on your phone for 5 minutes. Check the time. 3 hours gone. I said I'm going to stop. I hate addictions. I'm going to stop. And I stopped. And it's 5 years and counting. I can do without it. I didn't die. You can do without anything. And you wouldn't die. But make sure it's a sensible decision. Okay, yeah. So you get them together and then with all this support. And together you have what you call a startup ecosystem. So I am looking towards a Port Harcourt that will become the startup capital of Nigeria over the next 10 years. Over the next decade. Is it possible? Is it possible? What do I mean? Churning out the greatest number of startups with requisite speed, outclassing what they have elsewhere, and making sense, offering value, and sustaining Nigeria. Imagine the impact of that on our GDP. And the onus is on you. It's all possible. Whatever your idea is, whether to sell drugs, you can set up a drugstore. It mustn't be tech. Yes, you can advance the tech. I was talking to a young man. He said he wants to sell drugs online. Just like Jumia, he's thinking of setting up a drugstore, a tech drugstore. It's amazing. There are amazing ideas. And you could discuss sensibly with people who can make sense of your ideas. And who knows, you might just be lucky. You might just be lucky to get an angel investor, a venture capitalist, and a mentor to watch your business grow. It's not written on anybody's face. You can just be lucky. Okay, now next page. Yeah, so enabling, so if there be any virtue, let's think on these things. As I wrap up the teaching for today, let's think about it. Enabling enterprise. Now, I was speaking with Nia, we're talking about databases. So do we have a database of recurring startups and how to make them a new vested economic interest and power horses to make Nigeria grow? Do we have a database of anything in Nigeria? I was once talking about a farmer's census. Do we have a list of farmers in Nigeria so we can reckon with them? Do we have a list of businessmen, of startups in Nigeria? So with environments like this, we could begin to register our presence. One day we can say that 40% of startup practitioners are guys and 60% are ladies. I've taken time to visit schools around on a mild research, and I discovered that enrollment is increasing for the girls. For all my children, if I run the assessment on where my children school, for every one of them, there are more female children in their classes than male children. The trends are changing. So ladies, don't be laid back. Ladies are conquering the world. I thought the ladies would praise themselves. Ladies are conquering the world. I tell you, Nigeria, get ready. We might just have a female president over the next 2 decades. It's possible. Because Nigeria is raising some amazing ladies of power. Ladies are no longer objects of the kitchen and the other room. Ladies are rising up to the challenge. They are bracing up to their ideas. And listen, we have what we call the feminist coalition. You've heard about them. They're just a set of ladies who have said, look, if the guys can't sponsor us without asking for suya, we can sponsor ourselves. And they're coming together with a force and with a voice. And they are making waves. And they are making waves. And that is where you can say what the guys can do, the ladies can do better. Because some of them are outclassing the guys. In fact, they are becoming such a threat to some of us guys that guys don't want them in our space. So ladies, don't sit back. But guys, that's if you even let them. If you even let them. Because there's a culture the world is trying to promote today. It's an error. It's an abnormality. Where if your wife is richer than you, so she go and do the work, now you sit down in the house and be the house husband. Where did you hear that from? No wonder the Bible says the imaginations of their heart will be filthy from the day they were born. Crazy ideas. Go and work. Don't be lazy. Don't wait for your wife. If your wife is prosperous, encourage her. But you too, you can be prosperous. There is no law that said you should stop working because your wife is rich. I wish my wife could be richer. It would save me some of the, honey, give me this, honey, give me that. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So, ladies, if you can rise up, rise up. Now, we must dwell on that point, a database of startups. How many startups do we have? Let's assume that in this room, you are the starter pack. Take down your names. Make sure you identify with what you do. There is somebody somewhere that will make sense of the facts. Now, number 2, I talked about Port Harcourt being Nigeria's new startup city in the next decade. Now, indices and statistics, drawing parallels between Nigeria and nations. I was trying to look at the indices of the startup ecosystem around the world. I discovered that Silicon Valley still takes number 1 position. Japan has about over 1,000 startup hubs in Japan, but they're about number 18 in the world. I mean Japan. So what's the position of Nigeria? Nigeria doesn't even exist in the ecosystem. And it's time to begin to stand up and stand out. We've been idling for too long. I think it's no longer a cross that there are no jobs. Because were there jobs for me when we left school, there will be no Sin Forest today. Today I say, thank God there were no jobs. Because we walked from company to company. I personally had an influential father who would sometimes give me his complimentary card and say, go to this person. And we walked until our shoes became, I swear to, you know what I'm talking about? I swear to God. And eventually they would not give us something. And we only realized that we had an idea back when we were in school. Let's be more intentional about it. And out of the frustration, we started to lick our wounds and we're coming back and we're putting this and putting that and putting this and putting that. And you can imagine today, I would have become one employee of one brand, maybe eating my fat money with my big stomach. But today, I discovered that I have existed for more than 20 years after then, and I didn't die. And I'm offering more value because I could talk of 200, a staff strength of 200 today. But we have had more than 1,000 young persons in 20 years pass through our fold. Imagine the power of that. So I'm now an economic factor. I can talk about that. I'm not useless to the Nigerian equation because I offer value. I pay my tax. I pay my tax without fail. Personal tax, corporate tax. We pay our taxes. So we offer so much value. Nigeria will suffer a thing if Sin Forest goes under. Let Nigeria suffer a thing if you go under. And one of those, I repeat, I will not leave Nigeria. Now here we dey. Now here we dey. Those nations were built by people. We can build this one through ideas. How will your idea contribute to the growth of Nigeria? How will your idea contribute to reviewing the negative perception that the world has about Nigeria? How will you add? There has never been a time, I told you I don't stay out for more than 10 days, 20 days. So you can't deny me visa. It's not possible because I don't need your country. I don't need your country. I don't need a visa to stay in Nigeria. Nigeria is one of the best places to live in. Take it from me. Sometimes, see, you are coming to work with a bus. You know this keke bus? It just parks in front of you. You know, our systemlessness sometimes is an advantage. You know what I'm talking about? Because nobody's coming to harass you. Even when the police is coming and when they need money, sometimes you greet them, you flash them something, just show them love. They're not checking anything. So our disadvantage is also an advantage. There's a way they would make Nigeria too organized and too stereotyped. Nigeria will become boring. So they should leave out Nigeria, but they should fix light. Yeah. So let's see what we can do to make Nigeria a safer haven, a better place for. But Nigeria is beautiful. Trust me, Nigeria is. Now, yeah. So how can we rebuild our own feeding upon the stats? Let's be more intentional about the statistics now. Okay? Let's create a market frame. There was an idea I created. It's on my laptop. I submitted it to the government. It's called Remap, the Rivers Marketplace. What do we mean by Remap? We run a zigzag existence, but we can streamline it. So let's get a data bank of all the tailors, wherever they are in Nigeria. A data bank of all the shoe repairers. A data bank of all the drugstores everywhere. So you get on the app and you have a headache, right? You want to access a drugstore. You don't need to go to a bar to buy drugs because there's a drugstore near you. But because he wasn't known, he wasn't visible, you never knew him. And you couldn't patronize him. And he gets snuffed out of business. But now because there's a more organized frame, you get on the app, you know, just like Uber. So someone can pick up, you have my license to pick up that idea and develop it. So you now know where everybody is. Even where the nearest Aboki, you see that Aboki, does Aboki use phone? Today my Aboki man has I call him. There's communication. So your Aboki can come, he's on the platform within near space. Before this time, I would have to travel, so I have to amend my trousers. It got loosened in the Make in Nigeria conference. I'll have to wait until weekend when a vendor can take it to a bar, amend it and bring it back. Meanwhile, the man next door is suffering. The drugstore man is suffering. So let's create a marketplace where everything can be found. And more persons who want to register on that platform, more persons who want to subscribe to the platform. It's going to be a meet and greet, an entire marketplace. And just bam, 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 a click of the button, you get some service delivered to you. Excellent quality. And then there's even room for user rating. So we now know the ones that have integrity and the ones that offer excellence over the ones that don't. For every sector. Is it building? You have that. All the architects. Is it tailoring, fashion? You have that. Is it food vending? You have that. Is it health? You have that. Is it education? You have that. You have rating for every one of them. The Rivers Marketplace. It's all possible. Now, we don't need government for that. We don't need government for everything. We can do certain things ourselves. Listen, what government did we need for Bole Festival? If we had even incorporated government, they would have killed it. Because the one thing government knows how to do in Nigeria is to frustrate and to kill. Bole Festival began like a joke. You know, we can have more of such with huge, amazing global tourist potentials. The worst mistake I ever made in my life was to go out on a Saturday not knowing there was Bole Festival. Then they were at Obiwali Cultural Center. I was on the road just a short distance of 5 minutes. I spent 3 hours. The next time I heard that Bole Festival was coming to Port Harcourt, I declared public holiday for myself. I don't go out. I've never attended Bole Festival. I only hear the gist because I don't want to get stuck on the road. But that's the crowd. That's a force. You think it's just Bole Festival. Let me help you understand. on the day or within the season of Bole Festival, right? There's what we call the growth pole factor, the growth pole concept. Bole Festival is only an event. But most of the tourists that come into Port Harcourt will lodge in hotels. Is that correct? Is that correct? They'll lodge in hotels. Where and tear will happen to those hotels? Are the hotels giving them out for free? They'll make money. The plumbing services will be required because the tap will spoil. And then you call a plumber to repair. Then the light bulb will die because of frequent. You call an electrician. So you can imagine all the services that are lined up to service one thing that you call bole. We're not talking of the plantains alone. Now there are near spots. All the plantains in Aba are sold out. Bayelsa, Port Harcourt, Owerri. They are sold out. We've not looked at the transport system. Transporting these things, these goods and services. Now that is the way markets work. So imagine where we have expression cities in Port Harcourt or in Nigeria. I just go to this city and express myself. So imagine where you have theme parks. We call this art city. So we can divide the 23 LGAs into cities and themes. So some Eche becomes the art city. Some Ogoni becomes the energy city. There's no generator. We must develop our own green energy and all that. Oh, arts. All the artists, I want to express myself. You just go to some Eche. Just go and mold something. That thing Rochas Okrocha was doing, right? Just go and mold for free and walk away. The next man comes and creates something. Listen, over time we're creating tourist attractiveness. And there is no better way to grow economies than allowing the people liberty to expression. If they can express themselves, they'll be happy doing it. The woodcutter goes into the farm, goes into the forest and cuts wood, and he comes to design it. Nobody asked him to do that. And on his way back, somebody sees it. He bought the wood, how much? 10,000 naira. And someone sees it and is ready to part with 1 million naira just for maybe he created a pond or a fish or something. That's the way economics works. That's the way economies work. That's the way markets grow. There must be a deliberate attempt at expression. And that is how we can build our own. Now, inspiring and influencing government policy to engender and engineer catalytic growth of the non-oil sector. Now we have the likes of FASIMA and other chambers of commerce and industry, nationwide, and other umbrella bodies to provide coverage to units within their block. Properly escalating the realities and real-life challenges of small businesses. An entire communication linkage design all the way up to Nigeria's #1 man to ensure that everyone offering value truly gets covered. So imagine where, as little as you are, as an ordinary citizen, the federal government knows you, reckons with your concerns. Now, it's not about seeing you face to face, but there are platforms, there are umbrella arrangements, like we have the Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, right? You make your submissions. Now, Make in Nigeria is affiliated to FASIMA. Now, through Make in Nigeria, you have coverage, and your ideas get known. And every once in a while, your voice could be heard, okay, through the hobnobbing with intellectuals and influential persons. And then there's a Minister of Commerce. There's a Commissioner of Commerce. There's a Minister of Trade and Investment. And then they pay attention to that because it becomes such a huge force. And you have voice. You can bite. The government pays attention to you. And they can now come in with schemes and policy thrusts that either say, okay, there's going to be a tax holiday within the first 10 years of your startup frame. That is the way it works. But first, you must come out. And secondly, you must find voice. If you don't find voice, then you're losing life. That's why it seems as though there is no government support, because we have not organized ourselves very well. We've got the ideas. We've got the ideas, amazing ideas. But we've not found voice. We're still very docile, very shy. We don't want to find expression. And that's why we're taken for granted. We suffered the same thing. We traveled everywhere. Back in the day, went to Mina. I sat down with them. Who have we not sat with? Nigeria of today. Who are you now? We are coming to your office. You don't know us. We're coming to your office. We must find voice. Exam malpractice must die. Is it the ministers of education? I can line them up. From the days of Obasanjo, that was when we were in final year. That's when we graduated. Right? The registrar of JAMB, first he was registrar of WAEC in Mina. We went there, we saw him. Then when he became registrar of JAMB, we went there, we saw him. You know where Jamb is? The end, when you get to the end of Abuja, turn left. We went there. We'll find you. We had a voice, but unfortunately, we didn't have the protection of these bodies. We tried out FASIMA, and their interest was come and get registered. Registration is not the thing. Who will listen to us? Well, somebody made if you register first, then they can now listen to your petition. No, most of those bodies are more concerned when you start having money. That's where their interest jack up. But at this stage, you're a startup. You just started your business 6 months ago, and they don't know who you are. But when you come together, when you coalesce, then you can form a force. You come, you meet Uncle Uche, you harass him. Uncle Uche will put definition. He's much older. He'll put definition and face and life to some of your ideas. And then you come up. Once in a while, we could have angels just visit. Remember those days in the Bible? You get into the river. The first person that comes in, an angel visits, gets a miracle. We could set up such systems. Where through this platform, make in Nigeria, guess what? Uncle Uche has what it takes to pull the strings of venture capitalists, of corporate bodies through their CSR perspectives. And some funds are made available. And then some competitions. Not only dancing competitions do we need. They serve their purpose. Eating competition. No, we need more than that. Can we not begin to have competitions for innovativeness, for ideas? Competitions where some 2, 3, 4, 20, 200 smart kids, startups, come together, conglomerate, and compete for a prize of 1 million naira. Just 1 million naira. How much is 1 million naira? What is it? And then you give a startup. In the days we started business, we're looking for even 100,000 we couldn't see. Now today we can give off 1 million naira. Because you've pulled through the ropes. You know you deserve this. And then when you earn it, you have mentors. I told you, see, within my free time, I sit down on my computer and I create concepts. I've created what I call reeds. What I'm talking to you about is what I call reeds. R-E-E-D-S. A reed is a river plant. You know what the reed is? And this is River State. What is reeds? Rivers Enabling Enterprises Development Scheme. Not everybody who says, I have an idea, can actually run his idea. But there are some persons, right, who don't have that idea, who can run the idea better than you. You match them. At the end of the day, a brand is born. When C4S was born, I studied mechanical engineering. I didn't know how to use the computer like Ibifuro and Boneri. Boneri began to use the computer from 6 years old. He's a whiz kid. I don't even know if Bill Gates is better than him. We have the best tech wizard in all of humanity. I don't know how the guy does it. He's just so good. He doesn't talk. You'll never see him. He doesn't talk. I come out, Furo comes out. You don't see him. The guy is always creating something. I didn't know computer, but I knew how to manage money, manage resources better than them. I knew how to manage people better than them. And they said, okay, you know how to manage people. You're a people friend. That's how I became admin. And then this one became tech. The other one became CEO. And then we shared and we're running like that. So we find people of matching interests and energies, but with differing ideas. We get them together. That's why we need a platform like this. And that's why platforms like this should be given strength and relevance. Now they can pull the strings with government, with the private sector, with startup companies. They can pull the ideas. Some of your lofty ideas should not be thrown away. They have that database, and things can be monitored and supervised veritably. And then that is the way nations are born. That's the way nations are transformed. You don't just sit down and say, Nigeria know they work. Nigeria can work. You are the Nigeria. We are the Nigeria. I don't need to come and tell you I'm the one donating this to you. There's a platform. The man that brings 1 naira, the man that brings 1,000 naira, the man that brings 1 million naira, all of us connect on some web network. Because listen, it's an error today that some of us are going to the village and we need siren. Because of insecurity. Because you're afraid of being kidnapped. But did you know you could pay that kidnap ransom ahead of time? Should I shock you? You pay kidnap ransom when you're socially responsible. When you support that widow's children through school. It's 10,000 naira. It's 20,000 naira. But you do that and you keep them busy and they don't think of harming you. The next engagement, next time you get to the video, you don't need to dodge them. You're rather calling them and saying, come, what did you make in your WAEC? And if he failed WAEC, he's ashamed to even meet you because you paid for his WAEC fees. You were socially responsible. He doesn't hate you. He won't harm you. I've been in such an environment once. It was one Christmas. I bought one bag of rice and shared to the boys in the neighborhood, the so-called bad boys. And I spoke to them, and all of them, they've seen rice now, Christmas rice. All of them gave their lives to Christ. They repented. Guess what? They still remained in their state. They were still stealing and all that. But a time came when the community was invaded by thieves, back to back to back. Guess where they were camping? They were camping at my house, at my gate. You dare not touch this man. He's our guy. Social responsibility. I was never robbed. In fact, one day, one thief jumped into my fence and came to, I don't know what he wanted to do in my car, the alarm, whoa, whoa, whoa. He ran away and forgot his palms. In the morning, the boys came and they saw the palm. They say, oh God, we know him. We will find him. All that money you spend on siren, police, it's unnecessary. We can make the cityscape safer through social responsibility. Let's be responsible for someone. Okay, through a hub. So, Uncle Uche, you have work. Okay, so engaging our diaspora more deliberately to think, make, and grow Nigeria to feed the world. We have diaspora remittances. Those ones, they know that. In fact, today, it is some of the diaspora remittances that are saving Nigeria from our financial mess. They are hoping. Let me tell you how it works. I am based there. I want to send money to my mama. So all of those interactions, some CBN, 1 naira here, 2 naira, 50 kobo, those things you pay from Forex, right? They amount to huge billions of dollars. 5 billion, 10 billion, 20 billion, depending on the activity. So just like we have the diaspora, let's forget diaspora in that sense of Obodo Ibo. Now let's think of those of us who are framed in Port Harcourt. I wish we had more businessmen too. I could tell them, those who are framed in Port Harcourt, let's begin to think that your school you have in Port Harcourt is a thriving business. Begin to think of having an outlet in the village. That's your factory, that's your hospital. A friend of mine set up 2 hospitals like that. And then the one at the village is free for the peasants to attend, but it is serviced by the one in the city. It's in Benin City, right? So all the doctors in this one, in the city, take turns to go work at the village center. So Monday, this one is there, Tuesday. So the one at the village center is being serviced. And life is extended to the village. While the one in the city, that's where money is made. We can begin to think that. So whatever business you do here in the city, who else can do it in the village? So you have a school, you can set it up. You have a hospital, you can set it up. You have a factory. You can set up an outlet. And I tell you the truth, you enjoy cheaper labor. You enjoy exactness of service. You'll enjoy a certain level of excellence. Because there, you can't be charging high school fees. If you charge 200,000 here, you can charge 5,000 naira there. Guess what? In time, you're educating everyone within your locale. It's your village anyway. Think about it. Okay. Now, identify with the culture of abandonment of great ideas over the frustration of bottlenecks just at the slightest chance of a better opportunity, including Japa. So we're saying you don't really need to think about Japaring. I know there are some of you, the only reason why you want money is so you can make enough to Japa. You can make enough money. The moment you get 1 million naira, you're looking for visa and ticket. Your purpose might be here. Whatever you do, I talked about environment, right? I talked about geography. If your business can thrive here, it may not thrive in the UK. I was considering, having an outlet. We heard that a lot of Nigerians, so the last time I was in London was in March, and there were a lot of Nigerians who were moving. Even some of our staff were thinking of moving, relocating and all that. And I discussed with my team, why don't we have a London, why don't we establish a London office? So those staff that want to Japa, before they settle down in the abroad, they can be working too. They may not even need to get another job. Because there are streams of earnings that could come through that means as well. Okay? Yeah, so we're still on that conversation. But then at the end of the day, you look at the tax laws, their system is completely different from our system. I'm used to the Nigerian system. But that system, some things, you cough, you pay. You sneeze, you pay. Are you ready for that? This small white head that God has given to me, you want me to full everywhere? So you need to understand the dynamics, the economics of cities, the operational systems. Like I said, Nigeria, you can walk on the road eating bole. Nobody will arrest you. Bright Chimeze, you know him? He was eating okra soup in Obodo Ibo. They called police for him. They said the black man where they is committing suicide. All cross soup. You don't know Bright Chimeze. Most of you are not born by then. So stick to the laws. Okay, let's get to the next page. This should be the last page. In reality, number one, what can government do for us? Ask yourself that question. What can government do for us? In view of redesigning frames and engendering policy to influence growth of startups and industry. Number two, private sector participation through CSR. I've talked about it, right? Number three, now mentorship engagements is very delicate because we're not saying this is the challenge a lot of mentors have. Now, a mentor is mentoring a girl startup, a girl business. Before you know what's happening, she becomes his baby mama. It's a reality. So what is your intention as a guy? Because I've mentored a lot of young guys, a lot of young ladies in business. And the truth of the matter is that at the end of the day, you discover that their interests were not, I said it earlier, their interests were not to be helped. Their interests were actually to come close to you. Some have even offered to come and live with me in my house. Maybe they own one car and they want to take that car. So I want to come as a mentor. You see them very serious. When you are talking, they are being about it. They are not they write anything. So when we talk of mentorship engagements, there could be a frame to arrange that. I think I can sit over with Uncle Uche. Let's design something like that. It works. Get 1, 2, 3 willing brands that are willing to collaborate with this initiative, with this startup initiative. It's also an idea of its own, so that ideas can be harvested and nourished through proper mentorship within an engagement of 1 to 2 years until it's now a standalone company and it can add life to the Nigerian life. We don't need government for this. And no government will stop us. No government will stop us. Number B. Okay, no, C now. What can we do for ourselves? Now what can you do for yourself? You've got the idea. And the idea is, like the guy said, is meaningless until you've laid it down. You've planted it on the ground. So what can you do for yourself? That's your idea. It's your own idea. We didn't have the capital. We didn't have anybody, father, mother. In fact, my father was a threat to the existence of Simforest. He had a computer, and we're using it to solve the past questions. And he had warned me never to sit over his computer again with that nonsense we're doing. The nonsense was what was feeding him until he died, though. That nonsense again. So my father didn't know computing. So initially, we would have to, once we hear his voice, we would have to turn off the computer and act as though we're sleeping. He would rather that I was sleeping or watching TV than that I was on the computer doing brain friend, doing Simforest work, right? So we now had to trick him. When he's coming, we just switch off the screen. You know those computers of those days now? Once you switch off the screen, it looks like it's off. And then we're now maybe skipping or something. Daddy welcome. Hey boy, how are you? He didn't know we were working. Sometimes we don't sleep at night because we know he will go out at day. So we're just doing all of that. Okay? So what can we do for ourselves? The effort you're willing to put in. Don't feel entitled. Sometimes work, live, exist like you are government unto your own self. What can you do? If you were a nation unto your own self, what will that nation be? Personal dependencies. Personal motives. Independence. It's not about driving at the middle of the road like you own the road, no. But personal self-help. Personal dependencies, right? So how can we gain the support of the larger community? Through patronage and support until we can build targeted yet expanded hubs and markets for our ideas and startups. Identifying with our local feeds and the culture that has kept us who we are. I talked of the Bole Festival. I talked about theme parks and expression environments like the Art City, Trade Slate. I went to the Marina, Calabar, and I relived the slave trade experience. The weeping, and I wept. I've been to theme environments, museums, right? But my most gruesome experience ever beyond the Marina visit was my visit to the Holocaust Museum. I've been there twice, once in Jerusalem, the other one in Berlin. It's the most bitter expression of man's inhumanity to man. It's terrible. it's terrible. But then we can create such things where foreigners can come in and relieve. So I saw how slaves in the Marina Calabar, I saw how slaves were heaped, right? When they are shipped down, they didn't sit down in AC environments, okay, as we're being shipped to the West Indies and all that. They were packed like, you know the way sardine is packed? So one man's head against another man's leg, and then they are heaped, they are stacked like that. They are all alive. So some of them, sometimes the man on top of you died 30 minutes into the journey. And then, so we saw that. We heard some of the recordings, the cries. The likes of Oluwada Ekwano and all that, when they were being taken, we could watch their videos again. They reacted those things. And it's something you need to do. In Port Harcourt, what's our slave route? The King Jajas of Opobo, what's the slave route? We can recreate these things. And let the world come and relive our moments. That's tourism. Tourism is not Agaba. Tourism is not Agaba. You carry this, it's very primitive. We can make money from the airport. The way we greet, the way we welcome the foreigners. You come in, tourism is food. Tourism is clothing. They come dressed like us, wear our etibo, look like us. Wear our wako, wear our bowler hat. That is tourism. They come engage us, friendliness. We take them around, take them to Opobo, take them to Eche, take them to confluence cities. There's a place in my Eche that's a confluence city. Two rivers don't touch. They come close, they don't touch. Just like rivers, Niger and Benue don't touch. Have you been there before? Lokoja, they don't touch. The two rivers don't even have the same color. Now you need to go. You need to go there and visit. You need to go there and visit. The two rivers don't touch. It's tourism. Go there and find out. I'm making a plan with my children to take them to the one close to us in my place. To go and show them this experience, and it's going to leave a memory in their heads. Tourism is not just what happens in Dubai. It also happens here, but we have to tell our story in a very unique way. Okay? Yeah. So, how can we support each other through the creation of networks and partnerships? So even right where we are, how can we forge partnerships that make meaning? So 4 guys were friends in school. We liked each other very much. We were friends, best of friends. We trusted each other. We could contribute money and eat. That was a network. We were not in the same department. That was a network. From that network, food, we've been a brand for 22 years. So what network will you forge from this environment? Whose contact will you take away? Ensure he's someone that can add value, not because she's a fine girl or because he's a fine boy. Make sure there's a certain kind of value, especially based on ideas that you can exchange and share. And who knows what brands for the future will be bettered through this progress, through this process, through this conference, Make in Nigeria. Now, touting consideration. One thing we're going to suffer is touting. There are touts everywhere. Even when you want to park in the autograph mall, all of a sudden, some boy shows up, wants to show you how to. You saw where you were parking. You knew you were going to park there. But he saw where you were parking and he came to show you the way you're going. He says, Oga, anything for the boys. That's touting. It happens everywhere. Everywhere on the road, on the streets, wedding days, everyone has suffered some bit of touting. But you know you can coordinate them. We did it in UST. And so touts were disturbing our processes in UST. And so what did we do? We decided to have a face. These were boys that really needed to earn a living from what was going on. So we had a conversation with them. And we licensed them to become administrators of the solution. So today, they were organized. They were better framed. Most of them were graduates. They were no longer a nuisance because they had an association, not of touts this time around, but an association of solution providers. So they were ad hoc staff, ad hoc solution providers to the solution, and they were now protecting our solution from other touts who were safe. So touts can be organized, including these River State touts, whether it's Timarif or Ramativ or whatever it is. They can be organized, given licenses to operate, speaking good English. You will respect them. Sometimes the driving situation, the parking situation in town is terrible. So you could need them with a certain sense of professionalism. Tool them. equip them with gadgets and all that, and make them fine gentlemen and women. So wherever there are touts, they could be better appreciated and given the room, impetus to perform in a better sense and add value. Not those guys jumping. I've never seen human beings in my life jumping from buses, moving vehicles the way these ones do. And they come with a force. Even driving. Have you driven beside them before? They are terrible. It's like whenever you come and you see them on the road, it's like devil. See, they were wasting my time. I was rushing for a meeting, right? Somewhere along Transamadi. And I was going, you know that elephant roundabout, ordinance, right? Very long retinue, right, of cars. And I needed to, go my own way. And they were not moving fast, but they were driving at the middle of the road. I wanted to overtake. The fact that I wanted to overtake one of them, I don't know what he ate that day, decided to now pin me inside the elephant roundabout. I stopped. I didn't engage them. Where I'm going to is not where he's going to. The way I reason is not the way he's reasoning. He doesn't even know who I am. I don't know who he is. Sometimes I could have come down from the car with tear shirt. You get what I'm saying? With tear shirt, we died there. But no, we're not at the same level of operation. My sense of reasoning and his own sense of reasoning, my ambition, my motives, were not the same. He doesn't even know. This is stoutish thinking. He doesn't even know if I'm rushing to go secure his job. He doesn't know. Once upon a time in this town, we were the ones that recruited them. We organized the recruitment selection exercise, and they were begging, Oga, I beg. The same boys were the same team of yesterday, metamorphosed into this task force today. So you never can tell. Don't be rude to anyone you see on the road, even a madman. Don't be rude. So I just stopped, and then when that particular car parked, I think some of his mates rebuked him. Your business is to go control traffic, not to cause accidents. And I wish he had as little as scratched my car. If he had only I won't even fight him. I'll fight him from the top. And my own work with my legal team will be to shut down their operations in Rivers State. We tolerate a lot. An ordinary tout. I hate touting. So let's organize them and give them a reason to function like human beings, because they are human beings. And they deserve a right to love. They deserve a right to respect. They don't respect themselves, unfortunately. But let's make them know that you are valued. And you can be given a better face across industry. They are coming, you lock, peel off associations, all of that. Listen, we can organize our ecosystem to ensure that business works and business is interesting to do. And all of those levies. We've been talking with the government. Thank God for Make in Nigeria. Let's see how we can put our voices together through FASIMA and all that. Let's see how we can put our voices together. And at the end of the day, someday is coming when we all understand that this is our Nigeria. We must think, grow it, and make it work. Thank you for listening. Are there questions? Okay.
Your voice are loyal, sir. We are loyal, sir. Please, one more time, a round of applause. How many of you got value? I like asking this question. Yes, so much value. Some of you missed. How many of you were here last night? You were here in the evening where Mr. Ibufuru Asawu spoke. How many of you? Let me see your hands up. Okay, he told you about his partner, Abi. Yes, and so this is the partner. You can compare that mind and compare this mind. How would the company not succeed? So just imagine. There's still one person that will speak from the same group. When you put them together, because some of you are starting business, only you get sense. The other two are idiots. How will you succeed? You are working with idiots. And so I will do this. We'll take just 4 questions. Don't skip sections. You are not doing yourself good skipping sections, please. We'll take just 4 questions. Let me see your hands up. No question. Immediately one person asks, the rest go get. Okay, 3. 1, 2, 3. So just the 2 of you and talk first, ladies first. Like, see, you get respect for women.
All right. Thank you. What a big privilege listening to such an enlightened mind and very inspirational conversation, sir. You see, I want you to throw more light on something that I consider missing in this, our youthful generation, which has snowballed into some kind of rebellion, so to speak. It is a place of mentorship. A place of mentorship. Where are the models? You laid emphasis on us trying to create a pathway. We've been trailblazers, even in the absence of almost nothing. But I want you to throw more light on modeling. When I read the history of Singapore under the late legend of Lee Kuan Yew, I saw what he did. Everything rise and fall on leadership. Everything rise and fall on leadership. And then, sir, when you mention leadership, please talk about discipline. There's so much indiscipline among this youthful generation we belong to. Indiscipline in the sense that we tend to have this egoistic posture that we know a lot when we don't really know. No place for study. The role of study in this conversation, sir. Please throw light on mentorship, place of discipline, and study going forward. Thank you,
Very
sir.
quickly, because your question is weighty. Let me look at it this way. The worst generation in the history of Nigeria is our father's generation. I have a reason for that. Unfortunately, they are some of those that our children are drawing inspiration from. So in their days, our fathers had direct engagement with the white man. Is that correct? Most of our fathers of my generation will be in their 70s and 80s. They had direct engagement. In fact, my dad used to tell us back in the day that while they are writing their final exams, there are cars of companies waiting to recruit them. Did you hear that story? But how come they couldn't replicate whatever it was that they learned to our generation? And the things like exam malpractice began from our generation. Our fathers couldn't mentor us properly. They couldn't transfer a rich sense of the knowledge that they acquired. The knowledge of nation building. So most of us had to hustle. In our days, they were in jobs. I told you how I got, in fact, most of us will share a common story. Me, Ibifuru, most of us. We got from place to place. And the common word, the common denominator used to address us, used to define us was, sorry, you're unemployable. So I asked myself a certain question. It's okay, it's a two-factor approach. It's okay if I am unemployable by your standard because you cannot employ me. Can I not also employ me? So if indeed I cannot employ me, then I am truly unemployable. I decided to try. He can't employ me. Let me employ me. And today, I have employed me and I keep employing me. You can't be shut down by any man's impression. And these are some things our fathers never told us. Because our fathers trained people who were for the books. We train people for the world. I'm training my children now in a way that, look, continuing from our generation, there may not be jobs in their time. So let me empower them. And I was speaking with my last born. He's 10 years, right? It's going to be 11 next month. I was speaking with him. Do you know you can start making money now? The boy can't wait. Every day, Daddy, when are you getting the gadget? When are we starting? Because there's money making for every age. If a 13-year-old, that bomb that is going on in Israel was developed by a 13-year-old. So for every bomb you throw into Israel, they don't care about who threw it or where you threw it from. It's replied by two. One going to detonate in the sky and the other one going back to sender. So that's why Hamas is crying. They go to a soft market and then market or something, then they throw a bomb. Then Israel replies with two. It comes, they say, hey, you've killed our market women. All of that. But we're not talking of Israel and Hamas. But if a 13-year-old, I speak to my children about ages. So when you are 7, I tell you Josiah was king at 7, you can be king. When you are 13, I say Solomon was king at 13. So if you are a 13-year-old, right, and you're behaving like a baby, I say, look at you. Is that how you be king? And it's getting into their minds. It's getting into their minds. 17-year-olds, I say, look, these ones are national freedom fighters. They are national deliverers. So for every age, there is a tag. And that's the kind of mentorship I expected my father to offer me and my fathers. But my father was more concerned about making the first class, getting a doctorate, and academics. But academics alone will not define life and culture. And so I think that's a general challenge. And even those our fathers are still not reputable. You can see them in leadership. You can see the level of exuberance, for want of a better word, displayed at that level across the board. Who are the biggest treasury looters? Our fathers. Who are the biggest wasters? Our fathers. Who are the biggest visionless? Our fathers. I hope that we are not learning from them, because even those our fathers are mentoring some of our generation to do worse. And then you look at the generations after us, right? The young children, most of who are here today, 25-year-olds and all that. You see their reasoning. The mentality is about making money, not adding value to society. It's in the engagement. And so that's why everybody can, you see a 19-year-old killing his girlfriend of 16, of 17, just to take her underwears, to do yahoo yahoo, and you begin to imagine, my baby is 7, still looking like a baby. I don't tell her apart from the day I saw her at the hospital when I first received her tiny hands and all that. So when I hear that 17-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old, 21-year-old, is doing, I just become amazed. So in the level, I asked a question earlier, who gets your ear time? Who spends, listen, the man you spend the most time with will define who you become. We're told that when you are born, you resemble your parents. Is that correct? But when you grow older, when you come of age, you resemble your decisions. And then as you advance in age, you resemble the actions you take towards those decisions. So having an idea alone is not it. So in summary, the truth of the matter is that until we sit back and take assumed responsibility, not deferred responsibility. So some of us are waiting, when I become a governor, I will. That's deferred responsibility, and it's youthful. But a leader thinks in terms of assumed responsibility. So once it was Independence Day, and the entire organization, we took to the streets. Our office in Transamadi, we took to the streets of Transamadi, Peter Odili Road, and we're picking refuse from Slaughter roundabout to Transamadi Gardens, where our office was at the time. We're picking refuse at the two sides of the streets. We're just cleaning, and some guys were calling us the refuse in their shops because they thought it was a government contract. It wasn't a government contract. It was assumed responsibility. Sometimes we decide, look, we're going to the market. There was a particular day, it was Christmas season. We went to Slaughter to control traffic. Assumed responsibility. What will you be responsible for? Because it's easy to blame bad leadership on our fathers. But what about you? There were two things I learned from my father. There were things I said I was going to do because daddy does it like this. There were also those things I said I will never do this even though daddy does it. It's all learning. It's all leadership. It's all inspiration. So who inspires you? Because unfortunately, some of us are giving birth to children with our name, Ike Chinwogo, but the children want to behave and dress and look like Tupac Shakur. 50 cents, $50. So it's an error. And so you must be an integral part of their upbringing. You must engage. You must converse with them. You must know their reality. Because humanity is very fluid. They could take to any shape, even the one you don't desire. So you must be intentional about parenting them. Intentional about mentoring them. Sit down, engage. Converse. Everyone has a passion. Everyone has a concern. How you address that concern is what makes you a mentor or not. Do not abuse them at the place of mentoring, because there are the social challenges I pointed out earlier. Sometimes the girl is so attractive, and a fine girl, Miss World, is sitting close to you. What are you going to do with her? Sometimes if you don't act fast, she's acting fast on you. That's the social challenge of mentoring. What are you going to do with her? A situation today where lecturers will tell a girl, go and disvert by that. So you have those social challenges, and it's a reality for our world, but you must address them. You can still live in this world and say no, because you want to keep a certain reputation. That's where integrity comes in. You want to stand and keep standing. You want to become a reference point. And like he was saying to me back in the office, he was talking about, in his own words, the bronze serpent in the wilderness. We're still looking for bronze serpents in the wilderness. We want to have, because I was reading an article published by the World Bank, and I was embarrassed when they said Nigeria lacks businessmen. I said, what do you mean by that? They said because most of the big players in the industry are fronting for the generals. I don't know how true that is. But then you can relate with some bit of what I'm saying. Because while you're suffering to raise your urgent 2K to drive your business, somebody is called into some room and is given some 50 million to go and start his business. Some 100 million to go and start his business. Some estates that I know, even in Abuja, everywhere, are becoming hideouts for stolen funds. And you want to play in the same turf with them, you're not mates. So, listen, you may not have access to such funds. But what is important is your 2K can be multiplied. The question is how. It's difficult in this age and time, but I think it's still possible. We made it with zero financial capital. Zero. Nobody gave us money. But we had some fathers, we had some friends we could approach. We said, look, just give us a job to supply one computer. And from one computer, we would provide a computer and save some money, Then we got our first recording device because we wanted to do some audio, some voicing over our BrainFriend solution. So we bought that and responsibility began. Our first laptop was on loan. We borrowed it from our one of our elder brothers in school. This is your laptop, bring it. We used it and we began to do our coding. It became our server, our very first server. For over 3 years. Then one day he was ready to take it back. We said, no. Choose whether we give you a better laptop or we give you the money. And he chose the money. And then we gave him the money. Then it was 70,000. Give him 70,000. Even though it was fairly. So you can do something for yourself irrespective of the discouragement out there because it's wild out there. It's wild out there. But it's all on you. The onus is on you first. Okay? To find footing for yourself. And then eventually the world will come. Today, everybody wants to listen. They say failures are not fun, right? Success has many brothers. If I tell you how many family members I have,
it over the radio and I came. When you were teaching, I was thinking on how it's going to be or how I'm going to make it. When it has to do, I have a product that I produce. I have people working under me. I've been 5 years in that business I'm doing. But I have issue with that aspect of collaboration, because from what you've said so far, one person may not be able to pull through or get the maximum result you needed in business. I've tried reaching out to people, and let me say 70% of the people I meet or I met in the time past will ask me a question: what do I gain? How much am I going to gain if I come to partner with you in this business? And I ask myself, this is a business that even me, the founder or the owner of the business, I've not even started earning from it. I'm only paying my workers, running the business, trying to see how our product will even, get the necessary visibility. And here, one or two is coming to ask you, what is he going to gain? What will be his own share? So I find it difficult in that aspect. How do I get the right, will I say people, or the right environment to collaborate? I may not be putting the question well, but I think you're understanding what I'm saying. How do I break even in that aspect of your teaching? Thank you.
Now, it's a very strong challenge. I'm still facing the same challenge today because I wouldn't die with just one brand or just one idea, right? So you get, people are not honest anymore. People have, Nearby taught me something. I've stuck to that. He said, America does not have friends. America has interests. So in life today, relationships, we have more of interests than relatives. People who want W11FM, what's in it for me, whatever that is. And so that could pose a big challenge. It's still posing a challenge today. But one thing that works for me is environment. In every environment, there must be 1, 2, 3 like minds. I found my partners in school. They were people we're eating with. We began this work a long time ago, from year 2, right? Furo and I were in Exco of NIFES Fellowship, and then we became bonded friends. So we're traveling to Lagos, and then we kept telling stories. We traveled together, we sat together, going and coming. We're laughing together, gisting together. And then Furo had a friend, Usifo. I had a brother, Chukwemeka, and then we just continued like that. So my brother was my best friend. And so you see, we could form a team of like-minded friends who would sit over lunch, eat together and all that. So that's where it began. And we knew our tendencies. We knew what this one could do, what this one could not do. So going back to your relationships, who are the people you know? Because some of us don't relate right, and that's the starting point. We relate with people because they are, in Igbo, they call it Mukinwelafa. So some of our fathers are putting us in schools just so we can be friends of the rich. All right? But that you're friends with the rich doesn't guarantee your success in life. The man that may take you to the next level or advance a certain level of grace might be the child of the nobody. Maybe with some very cunning ideas and some street smartness and all that. You know, so open yourself up to more likelihoods. Be more intentional about your relationships. It's from your relationships you form interests and partners. Okay? And you begin to grow from there. Some may not be interested. You know more than 1,000 people. You probably have more than 200 names on your phone book. But how come it's so scarce to get people? It means you have been spending more than 10, 15, 20 years of your life relating with the wrong people. And some of us are in that kind of social trap. And so sometimes you've come for an environment like that. I'm sure there's going to be a breaking the ice session where you get to engage or something. You get to engage, try to open up on some of the things you do. Try to get some contacts. Because today I'm an author, I write books, right? Web development, I don't do web development. My office does that, but sometimes they could be so saddled with work, I need to go outside. I'll call the likes of Nia. How did I meet Nia? I met him through his father. Okay, he interned at, Nia interned at my organization. And even while he was an intern, like I want to correct something, okay? You don't have people working under you. You have people working with you. Because until you see them as colleagues, not staff, there's a level of grace you're disconnected from. Nia became the closest colleague to me. I was Oga at the top. He was an intern, right? We became so bonded that I was closer to Nia than two girls. We're not even the same generation, but we were best of friends until we became father and son. You get what I'm saying? And there's so much value he has transmitted to my life that is life-changing and tremendous. And I've partnered with him on a lot of things, including the Ant Hill project. So you could get your partners like that through friendships, through relationships, through like-mindedness. And then you can... It's so amazing what these young people know. So just get out of the box. Get out of the mold. Trust more. Take chances, but don't release money first. Money could be blinding. Okay? Don't release money first until you've seen value. Then at the point of value, sometimes you could even get one person as your staff. We did that. A staff that is so dedicated to your motives and intents. You now elevate him to a partner. It doesn't affect anything. It doesn't take anything away from you. It's going to boost his dedicatedness. It's going to boost his level of interest in what you're doing. And before you know what's happening, you trust this guy or you trust this lady and they're just so forthright, men of integrity. Get them in. I'm elevating you. You're now a business partner. You're director of this. I'm director of that. I'm the CEO. It doesn't take anything. You share revenue, share profits, and then life goes on. It's easier that way. It has worked for me. Okay? All right. One more question, right? Or are they done? Okay.
Please put your hands together with a standing ovation, of course. So much knowledge. So much. Thank you so much. Please keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping. Thank you. You can sit down. I'm proud to know you, sir. I'm happy that I know you. God bless you, sir. We want to say this. Now, Pastor Chanuchi, okay, at this level, he doesn't like us to call him Pastor. We just call him Mr. so that you not think we want to drag you to House on the Rock. But if you want to come, our services are on Thursdays by 5:30, Sundays 3 service, 8:10 by 12. Senior pastor is Pastor Larry. You will like him in case you want to come. Our church is just Long Abacha Road here. Think about it. Not beside the force you, beside the temple. Because if I don't tell you my church address, you go say I'm a juju person. That's why I like telling people my church. Please, let's celebrate our convener one more time. Now, don't skip any section. I know what I'm telling you. We can list everything we'll be sharing here. You will see that the depth is so much. For no cost. Let me recognize Honorable Nkem Jika Ekweche. Please, let's put our hands together for a member of River State House of Assembly. You're welcome, Mama. That's one of my personal person. These are the kind of people I know. Yes, Mama, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, don't miss any section. Today we'll be doing something unique. We know there's a morning and evening section, but because of how we've tried to shape things, we want to turn it around. We just want to do a long run. That's how we want to do it. So when we finish this section, we'll give you an hour break, go downstairs and eat. And by 3 or a few minutes past 3, we'll come back. Now, when we come back, we're going into breakout section, master class, subsections where you can bring your question to question. We'll talk about sales and marketing, and then we'll also get somebody to talk about finance. You get my point. I don't know what is your interest in growing your business. For some of you, it's finance. For some of you, is Madam Adora. Let me recognize you. Thanks for coming. Yes, the CEO, Prince Mega Agency. Please clap, clap, clap. The savior of most girls. Because without your organic cream for don't keep people. Thank you, Ma. Thank you so much. I wish you can just stay so that you tell us something. Tell us the Prince Mega story. I'm not if you know Prince Mega. Yes, most reliable when it comes to buying your cosmetics. My wife is your customer. Yes, my family is supporting you. Without my wife, maybe you don't forget transport. God bless you so much. So, I don't know, your area may be sales and marketing, your area may be finance and accounting, in managing your small business. How many of you have interest in sales? You want to learn about sales? Let me see your hands up. Thank you. How many of you want to learn about financial management for your small business? Let me see your hands up. Thank you. So when we finish that break, immediately one set we go this way, the other set you have to stay here. And we have people teaching you on how to grow your sales and how to grow up. That's what we will do first. And when we finish that, we'll come back. Our speaker for this evening is somebody you need to listen to. Tell your friends. He's an expert in teaching you on how to build and structure your business for growth. Please, we call him the surgeon, Nnamdi Ibe. Please put your hands together. We will be speaking this evening. All for free. All for free. You will not understand what it means to pull. My pastor used to call them Patako Mafians. You don't understand what it means to pull these men. They come out, create this slide, and they're out here to pour it out. Because they want to see a Patako that is working. I can't go on my Facebook Messenger again. Yes, you just go. Everybody, please, my mother this. My mama swallow shovel. My mama swallow this. My uncle swallow frog. Everything. So everybody is begging. But we can live above that. With this knowledge, with this motivation, you can go out there and you begin to try a couple of ideas. Give it time, it will grow. I don't know whether you get my point. So please, please don't miss any section. That's what we're doing this evening. The next important thing I want to inform you is I need this. Okay, I need the account there. Everything you see here is just by this man and a few companies and friends that has been coming out here to make sure that this works. For those of you who want to, where we are sitting, and those of you watching online, you want to support what we're doing here for 1 week, you can just make a transfer now to this account. Please make it when I make this kind of announcement. Even if you're not doing, just press your phone like say, just pretend so that others will be respecting you. Yeah. So maybe 1,000, 5,000, 10, 20, 50, 100, whatsoever. And I noticed yesterday, like some persons did, they were writing their account, and I'm hoping that maybe they got home or they woke up this morning, they could support what Make in Nigeria is doing. And this is beautiful. This is awesome. We want you, please, to support what we're doing here. Just make a donation within your capacity. Within your capacity. But you can stretch. Just download one loan app, loan money, donate. And God will bless you. Stretch. Let's go prophetic. Stretch and do it. How many of you will support what Pastor Uche is doing here? Let me see your hands up. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll need to do this. Now, when we go downstairs, the first 10 persons to buy or patronize any of the exhibitors, the team will be down there. We'll give you a free raffle ticket, the first 10 persons. A raffle ticket is for 1,000 naira in case you are buying or you want to buy. And you will win a plot of land, courtesy of Bamboo Real Estate. A plot of land. So when you go downstairs, immediately you buy, when I go buy sweet. I know now. I know now. Wicked people. These people are very wicked people. The first 10 persons to buy, you win a free raffle ticket. Please take note. So this is what we want to do before we go. When we close, Pastor you will lead us to the exhibition. All of us will go to the exhibition room. I would like to give 2 minutes or 3 to the exhibitors to just come tell you what you expect, where you can find them. Let's call on Enchi Nigeria Limited to just come. Aptech Computer Education, please step out. T-Max Street as well. Please step out and just help us. Tell us what you're doing, and then tell us what we should expect when we get to your stand. Let's see how fast we can do this. God bless you. Please clap for them as they are coming out.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jackson Ntuk from Enchill Nigeria Limited. So Enchill Nigeria Limited is a renewable energy company, an innovative one. So we don't do the regular solar stuff. So we do something that we make in Nigeria. Like when I was growing up, I used to look at this advertisement with Bank PHB. They say one day car will drive on water. So our company produces an air conditioning system that is powered by water. So instead of using the normal air conditioning system, we have to block a box, and then it gives us a cooling system. And we call it the NVAC AC. So this is how it looks like. This is the please, back to the other one. Okay. So this is the indoor unit of it. So how this works is that when you have your normal grid, we have a box that we have water is stored and it is blocked. So when you don't have enough electricity, that water now chills your house through this indoor unit. So we know that running air conditioning system with inverter is expensive. And even when you are using your normal grid, it's very expensive. So what we are actually looking at is producing equipment that are more energy efficient. Another one is the water heater that does not use electricity, gas, solar. So some people ask me, is it a spiritual water heater? Then I tell them no. So the water heater uses waste heat. We looked at the hospitality industry. These people are really spending money on energy bills. What takes most of their money is the water heating system. So we came up with a solution that we see that these ones can still have enough hot water utilizing the heat that is just wasting in their environment. So let's take example of these sources of waste heat, like the power generator or the air conditioning system that we are enjoying now. We see that the indoor unit chills us, but what happens to the compressor outside? If you pass this by it, you will notice that it emits heat. So that heat is just wasting into the environment and making the environment to be hot. So instead of allowing that, we channel it into our water heater it heats up the water, and it's being sent into the hotels. So they don't need to spend money on water heating. Now, the generator, we understand that if you have an engineering background, that if you put a fuel in the generator, you use only 30% of that fuel to produce electricity that you use. But the other 70% goes into heat and other inefficiencies. So that's why when you are close to the generator room, it's very hot. So instead of allowing that heat to escape, we channel it to this our box. That is the NBAC central water heater. We channel it there, it heats water, and then it's being piped to the room. So it's a central water heating system that does not require electricity, gas, or solar. So these products are actually made here in Port Harcourt, they're made here in Nigeria, and from our observations, businesses that we've deployed this to have been able to make a significant, about 30% decrease on their electricity bills, and they are really patronizing us. So we have other innovations. Okay. All right. So we have a lot of other innovations, and our booth, it's down there. I think the third on the second row to the last one. So just come there and see it for ourselves. And we are also looking at people here that would want to work with us. We can actually employ everyone here to work with us. Just sell what we sell. Tell people the good news. And so our flyers will be going around. So get the number there. Send us a WhatsApp message, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. When you said you can actually employ everybody, some people are laughing, not as if you can't, but then they say, this man don't know who will be. We'll kill you with wahala.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Faith Ben. I'm a counselor at Aptech Computer Education. And then from my learned colleagues seated there, I'm made to understand that a business is a legal entity on its own. So we are not just a company, we are a person. So I'm going to be addressing us as a person. So who is Aptech? It's on the screen. We are a part of a UK headquarter. Don't worry, I'm not going to bug you with all of these things my boss gave to me. I will break it down. So we have offices. We are in Nigeria for over 32 years. And then we have practically 7 centers. We have 4 in Lagos. We have 2 in Abuja. And we have 1 currently in Port Harcourt. That's New GRA Phase 1. We have 3 basic courses: software engineering, multimedia, and networking. This is the part I want to deal with. A lot of persons call me on the phone and they're like, hello ma, I want to do coding and programming. And I'm like, please sir, which one do you want to code? Is it the development or the creating or the networking? They don't know and they will not want to listen because their friend told them that if you do engineering or if you can code or program, it means you're an IT person. Please, I'm standing here to correct that impression that you are not an IT person until you know exactly what you are coding and what you are programming. So for example, coding and programming is basically a general term. Like we say, I'm an accountant. Yeah, I studied accounting from Port Harcourt Polytechnic. I'm a graduate from there. But that's not what I'm doing to survive, Sha. Thanks to God. Okay, so I'm an accountant, but we have management accountants, we have tax accountants, we have cost accountants, but the general name is accounting, Shebi. Coding and programming is a general name for all coding languages. There's HTML, there's CSS, there's C++, there's AngularJS, we have MongosBilla, and we have a lot of them, Python, Java, and so on and so forth. And they are all for different purposes. If you want to go into data science, you want to do artificial intelligence, you want to do web development, Android creation, these things are for different reasons. So please, if you know you want to know more about coding and programming, I'm downstairs. The second row, the second to the last booth on your right, you would find Aptech there with this lady that talks too much and is very short for her age. But then you can address me with whichever you will like. So God bless Make in Nigeria, God bless Marketplace Apostles, and God bless you all for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Esprit de corps. That's how short people we greet ourselves. Yeah. We are proud of ourselves. That we are short. We are not afraid of anybody. Because tall people have been ruling and been useless in these countries. You saw Buhari, very tall. Was it useful? Give a short man a chance. You will see. Please, let's invite T-Max to tell us about our wonderful food.
Okay, I'm a tall person and I'm useful. Oh. Okay, I'm T-Max Street. It's a business that does healthy and natural juices. So basically, we've run out of natural things in Nigeria and processed things are more. But T-Max Street is here to tell you that the doctor saying of an apple a day does what? Keep the doctors away, right? It's actually true. So what we do is we juice your fruits. So there are some fruits that you practically cannot take outside. For example, mango. We do that. We prepare detox plants. We prepare meal plants just to keep you in health and in check. Most of us have sicknesses and diseases and infirmities that on normal day, if you take your fruits seriously as you take your burger or your shawarma or your pizza, you wouldn't be in the hospital. Most times when you go to the hospital, you hear your doctor say, rest more, drink water, take your fruits, and then you're paying 40,000 just for him to tell you that. If you take your fruits more, you won't pay that amount. So all I'm saying is, we are downstairs, we have Zobo, we have different tiger nuts, and we know the benefits of tiger nut. It makes you much, much younger. So you can actually reduce some of your processed food for those natural products. Thank you. Clap for me now.
You must go. Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't take doctors serious. When I went to MC One Health Summit, the first one will come and talk of the danger of meat. We'll say, cancel and no meat. And that one say eat fish. One came and said the danger of catfish. And then other kinds of fish, because of our water has been diseased. I say, okay, meat and fish. Ordinary snail. The other one comes snail. That the ground that they move, they carry this thing. Yeah. By the time they finish that seminar, I don't eat for 3 days. Everything for their eye. Just like now, she's coming to tell us. And please, Timas, I'm a marketing person. That's what I do. If you want to hear me, I will teach when we do the break, I'll teach sales and marketing. Don't come and be advertising Tiger Nut and say it makes you young. Nobody is willing to stay young in this country. We are tired. I don't know what you mean by. If you want to sell that your drink, tell them, if you are a man here, you drink Tiger Nut, you will last. Even women will buy for their husband. Ask them. So don't come and make you. We are not young, no be men problem. They want to last. That's just what they want. Go outside and tell them. Yes, I have a friend, he knows mathematics now. Because they told him that mathematicians are very good in bed, he begin learn maths. They solve anywhere in the road. If you just see question when they write this in 5 times 6, 19. And just like that. That's what Nigerians want to hear. That's why our boys are drinking and smoking everything. Everything. So please buy Tiger Nut. What does mango juice do? It's not your concern. If they walk, you need to walk. Just they tell them anything you want to tell them. Those ladies, tell them, you see this mango, it will make you will not have good body shape. You will see, they will drink your mango, you juice. Don't come and say it will make your eye clear. We don't see pepper already for this country. I don't know how you are selling. You come and be doing gospel marketing, yeah. This I'm telling you, if you like, try it. You want to talk again? She don't regret. How many of you have felt so good this morning? Please put your hands together. Now, how many of you are ready for the breakout section when we come back? We'll come back by 3 p.m. Please go eat free, make friends, network, exchange phone numbers. Please do not look for marital relationship when you come for business conference. Look for business relationship. That's what I tell people. This is not the best place to see a wife. It's not the best place to see a husband. It's the best place to find a business partner, an investor that can later become a wife. You get my point? Yes, if you are looking for a relationship first, you will not meet the right, all the yellow girls, you will talk to them now. And when you go, they will now begin to give you yellow fever. But when you look for people because you want to build, you say, I do this, what do you do? We can partner together, we can collaborate, we can share ideas. Yes, and it becomes workable. The last information I have for you, please take these numbers. You can join our conference WhatsApp group where we drop information and where you can pick information and help us share. Please type on your phone 0706 7424191. 0706 7424191. So you can join our WhatsApp group. There we drop you will get information about the speakers and the panelists. Yes. So please. So at this point, can we stand? And then our convener will lead the way. We'll follow. Honorable will join him, and our speaker will join him. Please, Mama, this side so that you move together. Thank you, Honorable. And Lumati Isaiah and Mrs. Adora, they will all move. Please, those of you this way, you can take like this when they get to the door, this side like this. Just follow. Yeah, the ushers will just give you the lead. Yeah. So my love. Thank you, please. Mm-hmm.
Kila kitu mchana usiku tufanye mavitu baby vitu baby sata kisong na pawaina jaja yo put jaja jaja yo put jaja jaja yo put jaja jaja yo put jaja